Good evening, welcome. I'm Vikram Oza with a big question on NDTV Profit. I just want you to think back to the year February 2022, when life felt normal right up to that point until it stopped feeling normal. I'm talking about the COVID pandemic, and now this leading AI founder is saying that we are in that same kind of phase where we seem to say about AI that this seems overblown. We're talking about Matt Schumer. And that message coming through in his post on X, which is quite blunt. He says, inside the tech industry, the AI disruption has already begun. And he says, we're not making predictions. We're telling you what already has happened to our own jobs in the tech industry is what he's talking about. And he says that the shift has accelerated in 2025. And by early 2026, we had models that don't just write code. They build, they test, and they improve themselves, even helping create the next generation of AI. Now, the upshot to that is this, that if your work happens on a screen, AI is coming for the big parts of it, and very fast. And we can now see it percolating into everyday kind of work, whether it's law, it's finance, in writing and content, in software, even in medicine, in HR, you name it. The entry-level roles are looking most exposed to AI, while the mid-senior level 3 kind of problem solvers, they could be seeing a premium. That's what we have discussed on this very show in the past. But even the market is starting to pace this in. Today, if you see how Indian IT stocks have performed, Infosys, TCS, Tech Mahindra, all the others, they fell up to 5%. It pulled the IT index down more than 4% if you see the kind of moves being made intraday. And there are some fresh AI-driven disruption fears that's driving this, all for human-led outsourcing models. There is a counter view to all of this that we are pointing out, and we've heard it from Jensen Huang. And he says that AI is about tool use, not tool replacement. And this is to leaders who say that engineers will do much more before we need fewer engineers. The optimists are arguing that this is a productivity boom in the making, not a jobs apocalypse. And business surveys, they're split as far as the differences are concerned. Many are expecting displacement, but also fatter profit margins where AI is adopted well, which is why it brings us to our question of the day. The AI at pandemic pace, since we are correlating it with COVID, where exactly are we in that race? How fast is it disrupting the entire landscape, as it were? And now with the COVID scale disruption, is this fear getting overblown as well? Because look at the kind of disruptions and the layoff fears, even the kind of jobs data that came through yesterday from the US, though it's looking very healthy on the tech side, not the manual side, but the tech side and the IT jobs, that is seeing some kind of pressure build up, which is why we've seen that show up in the American indices as well. So how real is this fear, or is this a lot of hype that is getting created around AI? Let's discuss this. What can policymakers do? What can companies and employees do? All of that is up for debate. Let me introduce you to our guest joining us on the show. Saurabh Gupta is with us. He's founder and CEO at verysmart.ai. Arjun Rao is also with us. He's general partner at Special Invest. Anuj Magazine is co-founder at AI and Beyond. Ananay Batra is founder and CEO at Listener AI. Ashutosh Chand is partner at DGTL for Grant Thornton Bharat. Gentlemen, welcome. Let's dive straight in. And perhaps in the first round, I can ask you to keep your answers short so we understand where you stand. For our viewers, it'll be easier for understanding where you stand on the subject. Saurabh Gupta, so if you can tell us to start off, is AI moving at this pandemic pace that we are talking about for the white-collar work? Or do you think this fear is overblown? What's your gut based on what you're seeing with customers right now?
So I would say, Vikram, that a lot of it is an overblown fear, considering there's a lot of myths are getting attached with AI. AI is smarter than the human intelligence, and also people started thinking that AI can solve all their problems in a jiffy. And at the same time, many of the customers just want to have a taste of it so that they do not face that fear of missing out, that their organization is not AI enabled. We have seen that conversation a lot. They don't know where to fit in the AI into the into the entire problem solving, but they just want the AI to do the things for them.
Right.
That is something which we have been listening a lot.
Right.
Whether it's a pandemic for a white collar job, I would say if not a pandemic, but it is surely something they should be taking at a war fitting kind of a level. Reason because if you're not sufficiently upskilling yourself in this past technology first kind of an environment, you will never be able to reposition yourself at a later stage.
Right.
I'll give you a very simple example. A person using AI in the current world or current domain will never, and the one who does not, will never be able to, counter or will never be able to hold the same position back if he missed that particular bus.
Yes.
So for
So you're
white
saying that
collar
this is
job
not
people,
pandemic level.
at least for those who are, it is not a pandemic level.
It's not a pandemic
yes,
level kind
definitely there is a
of
got to
shift that
go
we are
action
seeing.
in this
Some
sector.
of it is FOMO driven as well, which you've seen across customers. They don't know exactly where to fit in AI in the larger scheme of things. Arjun Rao, what do you think? Do you agree with that? Are venture deal conversations, are they shifting from AI as a feature to that entire piece that we are reading about today, which is about AI building AI? And does that change your risk return expectations in 2026?
No, firstly, Vikram, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here. It's a very pertinent question. Things are moving very fast. We do believe it's a tectonic shift, right? And these tectonic shifts usually come about once a decade or once in 2 decades. We have to acknowledge that. But at the same, on a pure technology infrastructure level, having said that, adoption will go through cycles. There will be that early adoption cycle, which will be slightly overhyped. Then there will be the early adopters, which will benefit. Then there will be the followers, and then there will be mass adoption. Right? So we're somewhere between overhype and early adoption, right? Because I think, like was just mentioned, people are figuring out how to best use it to create value in their business and not over investing in it, both from a business perspective or from an investment perspective. I think we're in that cycle, right? From a venture investment perspective, we are perennially optimistic, right? We got to take a 5-year, 10-year view. And in that horizon, I think we will see immense benefits for enterprise and consumer businesses, and therefore, hopefully, some of those benefits will accrue for when VCs.
So there are these contrasting views that it is happening at a breakneck speed, and unless you are going to adopt quickly enough, you might get left behind. Anuj Magazine, where do you stand from the engineer's chair? Are the kind of models that we are seeing today, are they truly capable of the end-to-end shipping of features without the kind of hand-holding that we've required in the past? Or do they still need human scaffolding?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I think first up, I'd like to compliment Matt Schumer for writing what he did. Somebody had to say the things as bluntly as he did. One thing, however, I don't agree with is his comparison with COVID. COVID, I rarely see anything positive come out of COVID. Of course, the pace of the medical development and the research that happened, barring that. But, COVID changed where we work. But it shut down offices overnight. AI is not doing that right now. AI is at the most, it is helping, reframe, change the way and really quickly the way the work gets done. And I think that is the framing that I'm not pretty comfortable with the comparison of AI with the COVID pandemic. COVID did change where we work. AI is going to change who does the work and how the work gets done. So in terms of your question that you asked, I'm AI at the stage is in right now. We are in the orchestration phase. I think if you look at the evolution of AI in the last 2-3 years, we started with the chatbot mode, then we went into feeding more tools to the chatbot, then now we enter the delegation mode where we had consumer agent, and now we have entered with Claude Code and Cowork. Really the orchestration mode. To your question, whether it can handle all the tasks that I can give it, even from the engineering standpoint, end to end without supervision, no, it's not at that stage right now. But the thing with AI is that if you're not able to do something with AI, does not mean you won't be able to do it forever. Things change pretty fast. I think, we have this conversation 2 weeks from now, things would have changed.
Yes.
So we have to keep tab on the pace.
So it is something that you need to watch and be careful about before making any big predictions. But this is about people who are within the industry, and they're saying things are shifting very fast, and they're seeing it happen within the tech industry as well. Ananay Batra, as a founder who's building on top of the frontier models, are you already delegating multi-hour work to AI agents, or do you think that is still aspirational at this stage?
First of all, Vikram, thanks for having me. And to answer that question, I think it is slightly overhyped, the thing that you talked about where AI would self-improve and, help build more efficient and smarter AI. I don't think that's happening yet. In terms of coding especially, though, a lot of our engineers, they've turned into senior, sort of technical product managers rather than people who write code. I do think that about 60% of the code that we write internally, it is still written by AI. The remaining 40% still needs orchestration, still needs some manual work. You still need to tell AI where to do what. You really need to make sure that buggy code isn't written, right? And sloppy code isn't written. So I think in that regard, you have to be a great orchestrator and you have to be a great manager of sorts for your AI swarm, right? So really depends on how you use AI coding tools internally. We've been going all into 5.3 Codex that was released a few days ago, and it's actually a paradigm shift in the sense that it can do long horizon tasks really well. We didn't have this say even last month or 2 months ago, right? So I think the shift in long horizon task is it's really a paradigm shift, and the kind of code we've seen it write, it's almost at the level of a senior software engineer, right?
Yes.
But regardless of that, I don't think it can write code completely by itself, unsupervised. It still needs quite a lot of handholding. Regardless of that, I think the code quality has improved.
And yet you're using the word paradigm shift, which is something that we talk about when we spoke about the pandemic in the past, but in a much more fearful way. But Ashutosh Chand, with clients across sectors, do you see this AI as an immediate cost takeout in service lines? Or do you think it's a margin accretive tool that first needs that workflow redesign to take place in the first place?
So when we look at our customers, we see that the first discussion is all about cost takeout.
Yes.
But over a period of time, I believe that it will be more transformative, where we are not just looking at a specific function, but the entire workflow. And today's AI is most suited to do specific functions without really addressing the complete workflow. And every company that we work with has their own unique workflow, and that would take quite a bit of time for AI to catch up. And that is where humans need to be part of the loop, which we call as human in the loop. And instead of doing the repetitive tasks again and again, humans would evolve into looking at things where they add value. That includes supervision, that includes creativity, and there would be other managerial functions that they can do it. That includes relationship building with customers and stakeholders and their employees, so on and so forth.
Yes.
So I personally feel that although AI is bringing it is bringing in productivity, we will look at reaching a stage where transformation is happening over the next few years, and it will take. I don't foresee it happening overnight, but over a 3 to 5 years time, it is definitely going to happen. Think about how internet shaped up.
Yeah, but where will it change is the big question. And Saurabh, perhaps you can come in on this. In your understanding, because Matt Schumer is putting it out there that if your job happens on a screen, then AI is coming for significant parts of it. Those are the words he's using. The latest models can build and test and even improve software on their own, is his claim, though that is getting disputed in our debate. But in your deployment experience, are there any specific areas when it comes to on-screen tasks that are getting automated first here in India?
So, see, Vikram, there's a lot of tasks which are getting automated. There's no deniable fact on that particular front. Specifically, those which include the basic coding, debugging, testing, and maybe putting up a different set of agentic AI frameworks to that to different set of problem solving. But what is being missing is the fundamental of how AI is being built. AI, most of the models have been built on reinforcement learning with a human feedback loop. And it means that nothing without a human feedback on any data orchestration would really work as a good AI in this particular case altogether. So
Right.
it means anyhow, while building the AI, we are using a human feedback loop to make it work and to optimize it and to make it better for the future. But if we would say that today AI has reached to a level of at an AGI level, or able to build the code by itself, optimize it, make it the best of without a human layer of orchestration, then the answer would be no. It is not yet reached that particular stage altogether. There's a lot of L1, L2 jobs which are getting replaced at different organizations, specifically in those areas where there's a human intensive or a human arbitrage workload is being there with a lot of IT company. The organization who are already working on a SaaS model or a SaaS automated layer altogether, they're enjoying the benefits or reaping the benefits out of it while scaling their organization or the product they have built in past.
What's happening with the engineers, Anuj, in that case? They often say that AI is crushing the accidental complexity, but humans still handle essential complexity. So precisely where does that line sit in 2026 when it comes to coding and testing and infra as well?
I believe any discussion on the job, we need to be very clear of the distinction between the task and a job and a profession. I'll take from the alternate world, marketing is a profession, marketing manager is a job, and creating content is a task.
Yes.
When evolution of AI, if you track in the last 3 years, I keep coming to last 3 years and not last 70 because that's what is concerning us right now. If you look at that phrase, we started with the task level disruption of the profession, and that continues to happen at a very rapid pace. When you talk about writing code or even testing code, doing the clicks on the screen with the computer use agents, etc. I think that is happening. At the job level too, Matt Schumer's post itself talked about it, and we see that, I think it was an exaggeration to my view. I think a lot of jobs, there is a time compression which has happened because the tasks have been eaten by AI. Time compression at the job level has happened, but the job family completely going away, we have not seen. And we have not seen like profession going away completely, like as a software engineering.
Right.
And I don't think that will go away anytime soon. So this distinction is very, very crucial to keep in mind, I feel, to do for these discussions. And to be fair, like any profession, I have not seen in the last 3 years being eaten by AI. Of course, at the task level, job level, things have been disruptive, and that will continue to happen, in my opinion.
So disruption is part of any new technology, and from what I'm gleaning from what you guys are saying, and a majority of you seem to suggest that it's not going to be disruptive at the level of a pandemic. But when you hear a line like AI is now building the next AI, many of you are saying that it's not really true, and we are far away from that. But Ananay Batra, how are you using code writing models to speed up your own model integrations for tooling? What's the biggest compounding loop that you found?
So the biggest compounding loop, the one at least we found internally, is documentation, right? So anytime you need to onboard a new engineer or go through the entire code base, it would just be a very cumbersome task because, again, there's like hundreds of thousands of lines of code, right? There's orchestration happening, there's a back end, front end, there's databases, etc., right? So, I mean, just summarizing that, just having AI go through your entire code base, index it, and tell you where's what and how to do what thing is connected to what, right? So I think in that regard, it's been very, very helpful, immensely helpful, because otherwise it would have taken a week just to go through the entire code base and just to start making changes, right? Now that happens in less than a day. That's one. And besides that, you could also, it's great for debugging, right? At least 5.3, from what we've seen, it's great at finding loopholes inside your code base, things where, where things could break in production, let's say, or, coming up with security loopholes where, say, certain things could be exploited by people with malicious intent, right? So in that regard, I think it's been really, really helpful. In terms of code writing as well, like I said, 60-70% of the code internally is still written by by AI, right? Which is, and this is quality code, by the way. This is not sloppy code that cannot be used. This is quality code that is being pushed to production. So in that regard, I think a definite speed up, like a 3-4x speed up at least, in terms of the feedback loop with the user, just talking to the user, just seeing what they want, and then deciding what to build. I think just that entire loop has gotten a lot faster because of certain bottlenecks going away, right? So in that regard, I think it's been super helpful. And like I said, long horizon tasks are definitely possible now.
Yeah.
We did have a GPT 5.3 run for 2.5 hours in one go yesterday. So and that basically wasn't possible previously because of the limited context window, right? So all these models, they have a limited context window. Even a 1 million context window is still a limit, right? It's finite. So
Yes.
just having long horizon tasks being done via the Codex app, via GPT 5.3, it automatically compressing context and just continuing with the task. I think that's been really great. I do predict that the number, which is 60-70% right now, it might go up to 80-90%.
Right.
In the future, most likely in the next couple of months itself. But yeah, again, super helpful, at least in the last couple of months.
Super helpful,
I think
but how is that going to reflect in jobs? Arjun Rao, if their entry-level roles are going to shrink, but L3, which is about talent that has 5 to 15 years of experience, if they get a premium, then how do you think startups are going to structure their teams? Are there going to be fewer juniors? Are there going to be more player coach seniors, plus the AI agents as well? So what does your portfolio data suggest on this count?
No, I think that's a very interesting question, and it's about who adopts this the best way, who's nimble, and who's creative about building their organization based on this breakthrough, right? We're definitely hopeful and seeing a shift towards saying startups being smaller, right? Not necessarily hiring as many people, and doing an interesting mix of mid-level to senior people and junior people, right? And that's great from a venture capital perspective because our capital goes a long way in building more, building faster, right? Without necessarily having to scale up. Okay, let's hire tens of people and then hundreds of people and thousands of people, right? So I think the future we would look at is there's going to be many more startups as opposed to many more super large companies.
Right.
Because there's power in small numbers, right? And small organizations, because like my co-panelists have already mentioned, they can do so much more.
Yes.
Right. Of course, along the way, in the short term, we'll have to figure out a way of training, coaching, etc., and the right interplay and adoption of agentic stuff as well, right? How much agents do what work, humans do what work, and how do they interplay,
Yes.
right? But there's an immense opportunity for low single-digit employee organizations to build multi-billion-dollar companies going forward, and that's what's super exciting. But we'll go from thousands, hundreds to tens, right, over possibly the next few quarters and couple of years maybe.
Right. So, I mean, this is still looking like it's at the horizon. Ashutosh Chand, boards today are asking about, show me a P&L for AI. Where do you see the hard ROI in FY26? Is it customer support deflection? Is it finance operations or KYC, software maintenance? Which ones are actually moving the needle?
So in fact, we are seeing the needle move on all of them. And it is a journey that is happening. It's not just a one-size-fits-all where only one sector is moving the needle. And we talk a lot about the coding part of it because that's where all the journey started. Every AI is written by a developer. So we as techies decided that, okay, we'll automate that first. So that's where all the news comes out. But we are seeing the needle move on all of them, and different parts of the business are trying out different functions. It could be HR, it could be my finance function, it could be my support function, or anything else. All of them, every customer wants to try out, and different companies, depending on where they have the pain point, they are trying out in different areas. But the second thing that we are going to see is over a period of time, there will be standardization in processes and workflows in companies, and the AI would be customized for all of them. And instead of moving as a single product, we'll see solutions coming out rather than as a product which is hard-coded and the company has to align with that. We'll see companies building out agents, which is aligning with their workflows and processes. And that's when we will see the big transformation happening beyond the productivity jump that we are talking about right now.
Let me get the final word from Arjun Rao. When it comes to venture, what's the overfunded fantasy right now versus the underfunded opportunity in AI for India? And this over the next 24 months.
Yeah, that's always a tough one to prognosticate, but I'll take a shot. Obviously there's overfunding I feel there's overfunding on, how much agents can stretch on cost reduction and optimization across regular organizational functions, whether it is sales, marketing, customer support, etc. Right? It's just because it's just low-hanging fruit and everybody's going after it immediately, just suddenly starts crowding markets. But what is underfunded in our opinion, is what can you do with AI that intersects then with the physical world, right? There's immense opportunity there, AI with robotics, AI with defense, and AI with drug discovery, and all of these are very possibly specific to also India talent and our landscape, and we have some unique advantages in terms of talent,
Yes.
data, regulation, etc. So I think we may not necessarily want to play the large model game, but we can do these unique sector-focused AI intersection with other areas,
Yes.
and build a strong niche for us as a nation.
Indeed. So then these young professionals, Ananay Batra, if I can ask you for a very quick take because we are completely out of time, but these young professionals who are worried about the L1 jobs, what portfolio of visible outputs can they build in a span of 60 days to stay in the game right now?
I think building personal projects should be the one to go, right? So I mean, it's a lot easier to build personal projects. I think the differentiator right now would be taste, right? And what you build. So I think that's a great differentiator. We're still hiring engineers, and at least something that I'm not yet seeing is tasteful projects, right? They're all copies of each other. It's XYZ clone, right? It's like a Spotify clone or a Reddit clone or something XYZ clone, right? So I think if you had to stand out, I'd say build your own personal portfolio, build tasteful projects, build unique projects, build something you've always wanted to build, and just make it something personal to you, right?
Correct.
I think that would be a great way to go. If you're a creator, I think creating content has never been easier, right? So
Yes.
use any of these AI image video tools.
So there are very
and
clear
build your own
truths that are
portfolio.
coming through in the discussion that we've had. The ground is shifting under screen-based work. The real deployments are moving from assist to autonomy on discrete tasks. But the winners won't be the loudest. The fastest learners are going to be the ones, the teams that combine L3 judgment with agentic tools. They ship small, reliable workflows. They measure ROI obsessively, and they build the guardrails from day one. So is this COVID-scale disruption or overblown fear? The honest answer, impact is going to be uneven, but it will be fast. And the playbook is simple. You start early, you track the outcomes, you reskill continuously, you redesign roles, and you govern well. Those who do are going to ride the productivity curve. Those who don't will meet it as a cost curve. Thank you to my panelists for joining us. Saurabh Gupta, Arjun Rao, Anuj Magazine, Ananay Batra, Ashutosh Chand. Thank you so much for your sharp insights this evening. And that's about all we could pack into this edition of The Big Question on AI. The questions just keep coming thick and fast. We will keep trying and find the answers for you. But for the moment, from me, Vikram Oza, and the entire team, good evening.